Welcome to the table, a podcast where we share real life struggles, stories, and victories as we walk together in faith. Join me this week as I welcome one of my college roommates to the table to sit down and talk about a terribly difficult season in her life. Sarah is going to unpack a season of tremendous loss and also talk about the Lord's faithfulness during that difficult season. She gives lots of encouragement for staying in the Word, in prayer, and for leaning into your community. We never really know when we're going to need people to help lift us up. So I hope that this encourages you to lean into the community that God has placed around you. Let's get into it. Join me as I sit down with Sarah Tate Boyd to have this week's conversation.
Hi, Sarah.
Hi.
Welcome to the table. I'm so excited. I've been looking forward to this conversation for a really long time. One, because I love you dearly, and I haven't had an uninterrupted conversation with you in a very long time. But also because I know that this story, what you're going to share, has really made an impact on my life, and I'm excited for other people to get to hear and be encouraged by what you're going to share today, too. So, welcome. I know this is maybe not your choice of Friday afternoon activities, but I'm glad that you're willing to say yes and sit here. Do you want to introduce yourself to our listeners?
Yeah, my name is Sarah. I know Catherine because we were college roommates, and I still refer to you as my roommate, even though we haven't lived together in, I don't know,
I
15
know.
years or something.
Yeah,
Um,
probably.
Yeah, so you're still in my phone as Kathy, my roommate. So I'm excited to be here talking to you too. It's been a long time. Right now, I live in Houston, Texas, with my family. My husband, Jonathan, he is the pastor of our church, and that's what brought us here. And I have 3 kids. I have a son named Simeon. He loves basketball, and my daughter Piper, she is our like artist and like theater personality. And then we have Sadie, who is 3, and she loves cows and killing bugs. Those are like her favorite things in this world. So, yeah,
Okay.
so I spend a lot of my time with the 3 of those guys. I homeschool them, and yeah, we have some very like fun days and some very hard days, and that is pretty much what takes up my life right now.
That seems like a lot. It seems like plenty to take up your time in your life right now. I love to listen to moms sit in the seat that you're sitting in because they always talk about their babies. And I think that's so sweet. It's like part of who you are as their mom, and the things that you're putting your most time and attention into outside of your husband, of course. So I always smile when I hear mamas talk about their babies because I think it's so sweet. I also refer to you as my roommate. And my best friend in college, like Livy was asking me who's on the podcast this week, and I was telling her about it, and she was like, "Oh, okay." Like there's no life outside of her in her eyes. Like I was not a person before she was born.
No.
But I've been thinking about this as I knew this conversation was coming. Like, we really only spent 3 years of college together. But when we met, probably one of the first times that we were together by ourselves, I don't know if you remember this. We sat up until way, 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 way too late at night, and we had like the deepest conversation while watching Law and Order SVU, which was one of our favorite things to do.
Yeah.
But it was like the background music to this really deep um conversation, like getting to know each other, and it's just a really sweet memory now. But I think truly my roommates in college, you especially, like i I don't even really have the words to say how much you meant to me during that season of my life, and like what truly, when I introduced you, like what an impact knowing you and being loved by you and learning from you and growing with you made on me as a young adult, and probably me today. This is another thing you might not remember, but I always think about you. This is embarrassing, so I might cut this out. I always think about you when I walk in my kitchen and I see the cabinet doors open, because one time you said to me, Catherine, do you know that you leave the doors open on the cabinets every time you walk out of the kitchen? I was like, I don't. I had no idea. And I haven't fixed that yet, but I always think of you and laugh when I see that in my kitchen. So, um, yeah, lots of really sweet memories, lots of really sweet time together. And I'm just excited to kind of catch up and hear about Sarah as a mom of three and a wife of a pastor's wife, and just kind of where you are now. So, when we open all of these episodes, I ask some get to know you questions. And the first one is about feasting. So, Sarah, in the last couple of weeks, whatever period of time, what is something that you're feasting on? How are you fueling your spirit?
Um, okay, so I love music, first of all, and I love a good soundtrack. I love Hamilton, and I like sing all the songs all the time. It's like what I'm always doing. And a month ago, I guess, maybe more, one of my friends was like, "Hey, did you know that Tommy Prophet is putting out an Easter album?" And if I know that you've listened to his music before, but for anyone who hasn't, he like takes like he has taken songs and hymns and he has like dramatized them and made them into like these epic versions. And so I was really excited about that. And pretty much since Easter, I have been like just playing that album nonstop. And as much as I love Hamilton and like all of my show tunes and all that, like this has been one of the best things about my day is like listening to these hymns and being able to listen to the hymns but like in a different way so that I like actually am thinking about the words. So I feel like part of my days lately have been like accompanied by this music and just kind of like helping me to like mentally prepare for my day and prepare like my heart for what like the Lord has called me to. And just like be reflective of like what he's done and who he is. So that is like a big, big part, I feel like, of my life lately. And I'm very thankful for it. And then
Can I ask you a question?
yes.
Which one's your favorite? Do you have a favorite?
Well, I don't know if you feel like this, but I feel like it changes. Like at one point, I'll be like, hands down, it's this one for me forever. And then like a week will go by and I'm like, oh no, it's this one. So right now I'm like really stuck on two. Okay. One is still, I have decided to follow Jesus. I love that one.
Yes.
I love it.
I do too.
And I don't know if you felt this way, like growing up in church, that was always the like altar call song. And I always was like, you know, just kind of like whatever. Like
Yes.
I never cared about that hymn ever. And I even was like annoyed by it. But then
Yeah.
I saw it on this, I'm not going to lie, when I saw it listed on the album, I was like, "Ah, seriously?" And then when I heard it, I was like, man, this is good stuff. It's Anthony Evans
Yeah.
and, he can sing. And so it was so
Yeah.
good. But then I was like looking at the words and I was like searching online and I saw this article about the background of the hymn. And so I was reading the article and it was talking about how that hymn actually was inspired by, I think it was like a missionary in India or something, like long, long, long time ago. And a man had come to know Christ and he was like proclaiming Christ to his village. And the people in the village were like very anti, Christianity. And at that time, and they took everything from him and they told him, if you just will like deny this faith and come back to what is right and true, then, we'll spare your life. We'll spare your family. We'll spare your home, all these things. And the man, no matter what they did, this man held firm, like, no, I cannot deny Christ. He is the true God. And I, everything I am like, is for him. And the village, they killed his family, they like took away his home, and they eventually they killed him. But the man, like up until his death, he was saying like, I have decided to follow Jesus. And that made such an impact on the like leader of the village that he ended up converting to Christianity. And then there was this like revival in their village, and all these converts came to know the Lord. And that, like, knowing that and then hearing this hymn in this new way, I was just like, I was shook. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, whoa, I'm blown away. And I have just really clung to the words of that hymn. And then also, I love, 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 my Jesus, I love thee. That, like, oh, it's so good. And Jordan, his voice is
I
amazing.
know.
Like,
It's so
every
good.
time I'm listening to it, I'm like, I need to lift my hands. I feel like the heavens have opened. I mean, it is so good.
It is
Yeah.
so good. Yes. Okay, I agree. Mine changes all the time too, but I do love those. This is the last rabbit trail I'm going to take, and then we're going to go back to what we're supposed to be talking about. But do you listen? Have you ever heard of the Sing Daily Devotional?
The
It's by
sing?
Shane and Shane and the Worship Initiative.
No, I have
The
not.
Sing Daily. Okay, I'm going to share that with you because a guy, that's not a great way to say it, an author, a pastor that I listened to on lots of different podcasts came and he told that story. They sang that song, I have decided to follow Jesus. They do a song every weekday and they tell the story. And he came and told that story and I never heard it
Oh, wow.
until like maybe a couple weeks ago. It was on Sing. So I'll send that to you later. But
Yeah.
I just love it. And kudos to Tommy Prophet for bringing back for redeeming. I have decided for you. Now you'll probably love it for the rest of your life. Okay, back to how you're feeling your spirit. So
Okay.
music, and then I interrupted you when you're going to say something else.
No, that's okay. Okay. Also, two books. Well, anything actually by Elizabeth Elliot. I've been like hardcore on an Elizabeth Elliot like kick lately. I mean, so much wisdom and so much life, she's lived and she's suffered and she's struggled and she's still like putting out the like truth that the Lord is good and his mercies are forever.
Yeah.
And he is the one who gives us strength to make it like through each day. And whatever like season of life you are in, he is with you too. And so I've like been reading a lot of her books and just like a lot of, my kids and I have been doing a study on different missionaries and just like learning about these people who lived and some of them died for Christ. It's been such an encouragement and it's blessed me. It's blessed my family. And yeah, I've been really thankful for that. And this is the last thing I'm going to say. I feel like I'm, like promoting, like, let me like get out all these books and like,
Promote away.
yeah.
Yes, please. It's fine. Promote. Yeah.
But the book Living Life Backwards, I don't know if you've heard of it, by David Gibson. It is kind of like a commentary-ish, devotional-ish, I guess, about Ecclesiastes. And I like always thought like Ecclesiastes is like just kind of melancholy and just like meh. But I read this book alongside of like my reading of Ecclesiastes, and I am so thankful. I'm so thankful for David Gibson's work in like putting that together. It helped me really like think about my day, like the day to day, and I guess like reorient my like what I was thinking of as far as like my life trajectory or, you know, my family or, I don't know. Like it was just really, really good. And I highly recommend that. So those are like a 3-ish things, that have really blessed me and I've been encouraged by. And I feel like I'm always like talking to people about these things like lately. And yeah, I don't know.
That's a lot of things that I'll put all of that in the show notes. I'm like making myself a separate list of things to ask you about when we're
Okay.
not recording for the world. So I'll make sure that I get all of those links and stuff so people can get those if they're interested. All right, the second question that I like to ask is, where are you finding fellowship?
Okay. That I feel like is kind of a tricky question for me these days. I feel like the obvious question should be like, I'm finding fellowship at church. But what I am learning living here in Houston is that people live really far away from each other, because this city is very, very big. And I did not realize that coming here. And so like being together with people is actually really hard, other than Sundays. So I think like, even though that should be the obvious answer, it's not really, that for me. But what I have like really been thankful for, is my, homeschool co-op group. It's a very small group of moms and it has blessed me. And I mean, I like, there was a stretch of time where I was praying, like, God, like, please just give me one friend here. Give me one friend, please. If I have one friend here, like, I think that I could be happy in Houston, which like happiness is not like what God has called me to. Like God has called me to Houston and to be faithful, and serve my family while we're here and serve my church and community. And I realized like, oh, you know what? Like I've asked the Lord to provide and he has, but it's not in my church necessarily. It's not like this women's Bible study, like, you know what I mean? It's not this like obvious group of fellowship. And Christian
Mm-hmm.
encouragement. It's come from a homeschool co-op group, which like I wasn't
Yeah.
anticipating like falling in love with, but I have. And these women, they're all different and different ages, different backgrounds. Everyone goes to a different church except one other mom. She and I go to the same church. But everyone's goal is the same, to educate our kids and also like instill like Christian teachings and principles in their lives and show them the Lord. And I've been so blessed to walk with them and like have them walk alongside me in this, because it is hard out here
Yeah.
in motherhood. Okay. And when you feel alone because like you're in a new place and also like you're homeschooling and like all these different things, like I felt like I was drowning, and like the Lord knew exactly what I needed when like he like brought me to this group and they have encouraged me and they have like taken care of me and my kids, and they've like, I mean, and I'll say this, like, it's not even just a group where it's like, let me share this encouraging scripture to you. It's like, yeah, let me share this encouraging scripture to you, but also like, I'm going to be honest with you. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Even in that, like, this is painful and like, you're helping me identify some things that I'm doing wrong, like I'm struggling with or whatever. And you're doing it honestly, but also in a loving way. And that to me is like, that's like the best, because like you need
Mm-hmm.
the fun and you need the like social and the like the enjoyable part of community, but like you also need that really hard like a tough love too,
Yeah.
and someone who's not afraid to be honest with you. So very thankful for them.
Yeah. I think you just made a lot of moms feel real seen in the way you described all of that. And I think I love that you reflected on how you prayed for this. This is something that you earnestly asked the Lord to provide. It just didn't come packaged necessarily the way you were expecting, but it met the need. I would guess it's probably like more than what you asked him for. They have
Yes.
showed up for you in ways you didn't even anticipate that you needed.
Yes.
And I think people will be really encouraged to hear another mom say that exact thing. So I'm thankful that you have the co-op mamas too. The last get to know you question is about forgiveness. And this one is a doozy for you to like talk about in front of a bunch of people that you don't know.
Mhm.
But Sarah, tell us something that you are needing forgiveness for lately.
Okay, well, first and foremost, um, I am a mom and I am not patient. And I like have found myself, especially lately, we are in the process of moving. And, our house is packed up in boxes, and then there's like other stuff, there's stuff everywhere. So I'm like overstimulated by all of the stuff, and then like the noise,
Yeah.
and then the fighting. And then, like, at some point in the day, like, this kid needs to read to me, and at some point in the day, like, I need to check this one's math, or all the normal life stuff. But then like you're moving and blah blah blah, and I have been so short tempered and so like, I'm focused on what I want to do. I want to pack 10 boxes a day or whatever, and like, in that mindset, like losing sight of, they also need me to be their mom and to like take care of them or encourage them or give them their expectations for the day. I expect you to read this and do this and get your room in order or whatever it is, like, those things don't change just because like I am wanting to pack, and I don't need to take out my stress on them. So that
Mm.
has been like a daily, like, Lord, I mean, not even just daily, but like a moment by moment.
Mm.
Like, please forgive
Same.
me for the short temper, or like me, like kind of smart, being like a smart and sassy to them. But like knowing full well, if they smarted off to me, I would be like, excuse me. So just,
Yeah.
I am a sinner, and being a mom, has showed me that more and more and more than I could ever, like, ever know or understand. So I'm selfish. I am impatient, and I want to do what I want to do. And I don't like a lot of noise. So, like, it's humbling work being a mom.
Yes.
So that is my like daily please forgive me, God. And I know that he does, and I'm thankful for that. But I also am like, I don't want to just like I don't want to like just let this be the norm. Like, I'm gonna like be a smart aleck to my kids and then be like, okay, forgive me, God. Like, I want my heart to
Yeah.
change. And which, I mean, going back to the book that I was telling you about, the Ecclesiastes one, I feel like that put a lot of things in perspective for me. Just like changing my vision and like changing my, well, it's not me changing my heart and changing my vision, but just asking the Lord like to help me to focus on the things that matter, and the things that you've given me, and the things that like you've like brought me to in this season of my life. Like, help me to be
Hmm.
faithful, help me to care for these things, these people, in a way that honors you and pleases you. And like that has, it's, yeah, that's been my prayer lately. So that, and then also just struggling with contentment here, in Texas has been hard for me. I, feel very far away from the people who I love the most. And like sitting in loneliness, it is like a very easy way that the enemy can attack us, and
Yeah.
does. And so in that, there are days where like I have been discontent with like being here and what the Lord has brought us to here. And so I feel like um, maybe everybody struggles with this at different points in their life. Um,
Yeah.
and so I don't know. This has been kind of an ongoing struggle for me here. Um, and something that I'm like continually just bringing to the Lord.
Yeah, in a couple, I don't know if it was last week, whenever it was, the last Sarah on the podcast, which was just a couple weeks ago, she talked about discontentment too. And it was so funny because she was talking about her life, like just introducing herself essentially. And I was sitting here in my mind saying, man, that sounds so great. I would have loved that. I wish I had
Mm,
this. I wish I had this. I wish I had this. And like, no, it's not, the grass is not greener. Like, God has provided what He's provided for me. Like, we all have things that we struggle with. And then that very next sentence out of her mouth, I think she was talking about forgiveness, was, I'm not content and I struggle with discontentment. And I was like, oh, it is. It's all of us. We all struggle with
yeah.
that in some way, in some kind of season. But I love that you talked about your prayer being that God would change your heart. And I think that matters because I'm in a weird time right now, and having a lot of um, honest prayers with the Lord, maybe sometimes like too much so. But I think I realized I don't like this. I don't like the way that I am when I'm stressed or when I'm overwhelmed. I don't want to be that person. I can't, like you said, I can't love my kids the way I want to or my husband the way I want to in that state. I'm just like sarcastic or snippy, or I don't give any grace, for the times that they mess up. Like, I just don't like how I am. And that's been a prayer of mine too lately, is please just change my heart. Just, I will
Mhm.
be whatever you want me to be. Just give me the ability to do it. Just change my heart so that I can show up the way I want to. Um, oh, it's so good. This really could have been 2 episodes. Like, we could talk about so many of these things, but we won't, because we're gonna stay focused, and I'm not gonna derail our conversation. Okay, we're in a series right now, and we're talking about really hard seasons. And the whole reason that we're doing this is because I want people to hear other women share God's faithfulness through something that seemed overwhelming at least, and like crushing at most. So we've had a variety of seasons shared here. And I also want to hear, we're also talking about how community either supported or showed up for you during that time, because I think that gives us examples of how we can show up for each other.
Mhm.
So, Sarah, will you give me a little bit of the backstory? Like, give me some context for the season that we're going to talk about today.
Yes. So in 2013, that was our last year of college.
I'm
My
so old.
mom,
We're so
I,
old.
I know. Ugh.
I'm sorry. Okay, I'm done.
That's okay. In 2013, my mom passed away. And my mom died because she took her own life. And I like always feel kind of like I like don't know how to say that in a way that's like comfortable for people
Yeah.
to receive. So I don't know. I'm just gonna put it out there. So in 2013, when my mom died, we were actually in our last semester of college. And at that point, we were planning graduation and we were like getting our caps and gowns ordered and all that. And then I was also getting married like the week after graduation. So that semester was like crazy town. And the whole year, though, honestly, I mean, it was busy and we were doing a lot of things. And that whole year, I like when I look back on it now, I can see, yeah, there were a lot of like signs there, but I was so busy and I was busy like with living my life, and like that isn't wrong. I was in that
Yeah.
season, it was like normal, but
Yeah.
now when I think about it, I can recognize that there were signs there that my mom was depressed and very, very, very depressed and struggling with anxiety and depression and all of the things. um, so for me, that last year of college, I was like moving towards this new life, I guess. I was going to be married and I was hoping to find a job and all these things. And I was like kind of going to church with Jonathan, but I was like kind of still going to church with you. Like we were like kind of in this weird place where
Yeah.
I was like kind of going in Jackson where we lived, but I wasn't like totally invested. But I was still involved in my church in East Tennessee. So it was like I was in this weird limbo, I feel like, as far as like where my church life. And
Yeah.
so when my mom passed, I did not have like a solid, I guess, a solid like community there who even knew. I mean, they're like, I left and
Yeah.
I came back, and like my church in Jackson, like some people didn't even know because people like didn't really know me. I wasn't like super involved. And then like my church at home, they knew, but they were 4 hours away. And so there was like, it was really hard as far as like knowing what to do and like how to let people know and be like, I need help
Yeah.
or whatever. And so what I like did have though while I was in Jackson was I had like a solid group of friends, like 3 friends who loved me. Like you were one of them, and Katie and Jesse, and Jonathan, my fiance at the time, he was there too. And so like I really was like wrapped in care from the 4 of you, and I'm thankful for that. But what I like regret now is like being in Jackson, not being involved in a church, not like having pastoral care, and like
Yeah.
that community, you know? And so I was like really alone. I felt really alone. I felt a lot of shame, because I felt like I couldn't even say to people, like, this is what's happened. I left and I came back because my mom died, and my mom didn't just die, like, she took her life.
Yeah.
And so, like, I was really struggling with a lot of, like, I guess, like isolation. I mean, I was doing that to myself because I didn't know how to have these conversations with people, and I didn't know what to say. I didn't want to make people feel uncomfortable, but I also was like, well, I don't want to say this is what's going on and then be in the position to have to like comfort other people, because then they start to feel weird. And it was like,
Yeah.
maybe I was like in my head too much, but I just was like, I don't know. I don't know. And so, that like that part of my life that semester, I feel like I kind of like shut it down. I like put it in a box and was like, I'm going to keep this contained as much as possible because I need to somehow like pass exams, write a thesis, finish planning
Yeah.
this wedding, get married. I know we spent a lot of time eating ice cream from Chick-fil-A on the couch and watching Law and Order SVU. And I think that is like probably what I remember most about my life at that point is like sitting on the couch with you, like you were doing your homework. I don't know what I was doing. And like, but being able to have that, I don't like your presence. Like that's what I needed. I just needed like to be with people. I needed to like sometimes to be able to talk and sometimes not, just to like sit there. But I needed a lot of care, and I didn't know how to ask for it or what to do about it.
I think that there's so many things that we could pick out of that. When I listen to you talk about that season, sitting here today, I feel like we were children.
Yes.
And we, like, if I could encourage my kids, I didn't know. I had no idea that I was gonna need. I don't know if you knew this. I didn't know I needed a church family in college. Like,
No.
I was the same way. I was going to church, but I wasn't like plugged in, and I wasn't like we weren't plugged in, and I had no idea I needed that. And we were just kids, and it actually kind of breaks my heart a little bit because probably like the Sarah from however many years ago like needed grown-ups to help guide you through that season. And I hear you say like you did what you did and like surrounded yourself with the people that you had, but it just kind of, I guess, highlights for me and hopefully for people that are in that stage of life, like how important it is to be connected to a community because you never know what is going to happen from a really big thing like what you're sharing to something really small that you just need like trusted people surrounding you. Um, what, so you talked a little bit about community, but I want you to talk about your relationship with the Lord during this time. Like, what was your relationship with the Lord like then, and how did that season, how did that change your relationship with the Lord now?
Hmm. I mean, at that time, I do feel like I was like very numb to
Yeah.
life in general, and then especially like with the Lord. I know like I would try to read my Bible. I would try to, if anything, it was like I was going to the Psalms. But I just felt very like, yeah, I felt very numb and just like
Yeah.
God was really far. And I don't remember like going to church or any, like I don't ever remember like hearing anything that was like, oh yeah, that's what I needed, or like
Yeah.
encouragement or anything. Like I just felt like I was in this like zombie mode, just like going through the motions of life. And
Hmm.
I mean, even for like a good bit after like we graduated and like moved on, I still felt that way. And two things though that I do remember made a huge impact on me. One, I was meeting one of our pastor's wives for coffee, and she was asking me how I was doing, and I was like, well, not good. And then she was asking me like, are you praying? Are you reading your Bible? And I was just like, I mean, no, not really. Like I try to, but like I don't feel anything. And like, I don't feel like the Lord is close to me. I don't feel like anything gets like to my soul when I'm reading or praying or
Hmm.
anything. And I kind of was going on and on. And she was like, yeah, you probably don't feel anything right now, but that doesn't mean that you don't need to do it. And she was like, even if you don't feel anything, like just keep doing it. Like keep reading your Bible, keep praying, even if it's just a little bit, like just keep doing it every day. And I was like, okay, like that's all you got for me? Like, I need you to put
Yeah.
me back together here. And so I was just kind of
Yeah.
like, okay. And then like one more thing that like really like was so good is I got a card in the mail from someone I don't even know. And somehow along the lines, like some girl that I had class with, one class, I can't even remember her name. She knew about my situation and probably told her mom. And somehow her mom got my address and she sent me a card in the mail. And I don't know what the card said, but like one of the last things that it did say is, because she was saying that she walked through a similar situation when she was in college. And she said to me, in the card, you know, your mom is not here, like she's gone, but God will always provide a mom for you when you need one. And I was super annoyed about that too. I was like, well, I want my mom. I don't want like some rando.
Yeah.
And so I was like, but I threw it away. But that like stuck with me. Okay. So like now down the road, what I can say is both of those women were absolutely spot on. Like they spoke the truth, because never, ever, ever in my life since losing my mom have I been in a situation where truly I needed a mother and didn't have one. I like, and sometimes it's like women who are like the same age as me. Or sometimes it's women who are grandmas, or women who are single, or, you know, like different walks of life, different life experiences. But at the time that I have needed a mother and needed like that kind of care and wisdom and nurturing or whatever it is, God has given it to me. And it does not look like, you know, like in my head at that time in college, what I wanted it to look like. And of course, like I would much rather have my mom here with me today, but I'm not denying that the Lord is so good and he knows exactly what we need in like each moment that we need it. And then going back to what my pastor's wife said, like eye rolling her, I can't believe she would share this advice with me. But now, you know, like 13 years later, I'm like, man, she was so right about that. Because, like, yeah, I don't remember any like Bible verse or song or anything like encouraging me, helping me through that time. But like, seriously, just the act of, I'm going to like come and open my Bible, read, pray, like even like going to church, like not stopping, just continuing, even though like you feel numb, it's like just continuing on and asking the Lord like for strength, like, Lord, help me open this Bible today because I don't want to. I want to like check out. I want to turn on Netflix, or I want whatever it is. Like, this is the last thing I want to do. And just being like, just willing and able to like receive from the Lord, and like maybe nothing is going to like make you feel anything in that moment, but like years down the road, you're going to be able to recall like this scripture or like this story in the Bible that happened that like maybe didn't impact you at that point, but like now at this point in your life, like it really does, like you understand it in a new way because like you're in a different season or whatever it is. Like the Lord is good, and whatever you like take in that is good and that is from him, it doesn't waste. It doesn't like go away. And so whatever I was taking in at this point in my life, like maybe I wasn't like feeling anything, but it doesn't mean that it didn't I don't like it didn't like make a difference in my life even through now. I don't know. It's like uh it really is like a garden, you know, like tending carefully and nurturing, and like that's what the word is for us. Like, and you might not see like the root system down below, and like you're waiting and waiting and waiting for the fruit of this garden that you've been tending, but like eventually, if you have been faithful and you've like taken what the Lord has given you and used it well, then like eventually you will see the fruits, and you will be able to appreciate like the deep roots.
Yeah. I hope those two women, I don't know if they will. For sure, your pastor's wife, friend. I hope they get to hear you talk about that, or I hope you've gotten to share that with them at some other time in your life. Because honestly, one of the things I'm going to ask you in a minute is what would you say to someone who is walking through something similar? And it sounds like that was really sound advice that she gave you, and it really made an
Yeah.
impact, even though you didn't care to hear it at the
Yeah.
time, which I wouldn't either. Um, what do you know now about God that you didn't know before? Before all this happened, like what have you learned about the character of God, or how has your relationship grown because of this season?
Yeah. I remember like at one point before losing my mom being struck with like God is faithful and like kind of like what that meant. And
Hmm.
feeling like I really could appreciate that. Um, but then after like the loss of my mom and like and time, I like have come to appreciate that even more. God is faithful and he is constant and he will not change and he does not change. And like, no matter what happens in my life, and I mean, Catherine, like like have had a lot of life transitions. Like every 2 years I'm moving or whatever, or
Yeah.
like major like job changes, and just like nothing is ever little for me for some reason. Like I am like go big or go home. And so
Yeah.
like in all of this, like no matter what's changing around me, God doesn't change. He is still the same and he's good and he provides. And for me, like God has always, always, always provided community and like provided the people that um like I needed people who I needed to remind me of who he is and call me
Hmm.
out when like I'm sinning and like point me to the truth, and like he has just blessed me abundantly with that. And the thing that like also going back to the Ecclesiastes book, okay, I feel like I'm like majorly like promoting this thing. But like in the book there was like one point where it was talking about life is cyclical, and we appreciate seasons, and I love seasons. I That was like one of my favorite things about living in the Midwest, was because you get four like true seasons, and you get to appreciate
Hmm.
the beauty and the change and like how good it feels and all that. But life is like that too. And like when I was reading that and like thinking about it, I was kind of like, I have like experienced a lot of changes in my life. And in all of them, like I've never been alone. And in this one season that I was in, I did not know that I would be like relying on these friends or like this relationship or whatever in the way that I did rely on it. But God knew. He knew from the beginning. He
Yeah.
knew like when you and I first met that like I was going to need you. And I was going to need somebody to sit on the couch and watch TV with, or like to leave me like notes of encouragement and just remind me like I am not alone. And like he knew that I would need you. And he knew, back, like when I was, 6 or 7 years old, playing like dolls and stuff with my next door neighbor, that like I would need her when my
Yeah.
life and like how I imagined it shifted. Like I would need to rely on her. And put you in my life, and he put, my like three best friends that I grew up with, he put them in my life. And, there are some seasons where like one person or a few people may like be closer, to me or to us, but that doesn't change like the impact and that like they can have on us, and also like how they fulfilled like the Lord's calling or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
he called them to say this thing or pray this way or just show up, and like they did it, and that was good, and they honored him because they were faithful to just do that. And then it blessed me in return, and it carried me like through those really hard times.
I think that's a really sweet reminder. I mean, you just talked about like lots of the key attributes, I think, of God's character, that he doesn't change, that he is our provider, and he knows everything that's going to happen before it happens. But it's really sweet to think about, even in like your life right now and my life right now, or our kids' lives, like the people that he's using, that he's putting in their lives and in our lives, that we don't know we're going to need for a season that's coming. And it's just really sweet, the thoughtfulness and the intention and the kindness of God. I think that's been something in this season that I'm in right now. It's like at the end of the day, seeing those tiny moments where God did exactly what you just said, like where I can see the kindness of God in just the tiniest things, and see that he knows me, and he
Mm-hmm.
is watching out for me and providing for me, and like giving me the things that I need to take the next step or make it to the next day or whatever. I just think that's a really sweet reminder. You've given a lot of I think you've given a lot of really good encouragement so far, and some advice too, for someone who's maybe going through something similar to this, or even like not similar, just a really hard season where they maybe they're not really deeply plugged into their community, or they're in a season of transition, and a lot of things are moving around them. How would you encourage them today to like take the next step? What would your encouragement be?
Um, I think that, if you're not plugged in to church or community, for whatever reason, I think that like that's the first thing to do, is to just like show up to church, and um find somebody, like, and let them know like, hey, like tell your pastor or like whoever you could find, be like, hey, look, this is where I'm at. And
Yeah.
I like the thought of doing that as a college student, like sounds very scary. Um,
Yeah.
or I mean, the thought of doing that, of like going to a church, not knowing a lot of people and doing that, sounds so scary and intimidating. But what I want like people to know is like, on this side of things, as like someone who's married to the pastor, like that is what the church is here for. And I mean, I know like so many times my husband has said like, this happened. I wish I would have known like before now, or, whatever. But like
Yeah.
people feel scared to like approach the pastor or the elder or whoever, um for whatever there are a lot of different reasons, but like they genuinely, like your church leadership, people who teach Sunday school or do women's devotions or whatever, Sunday school workers, like anybody, like the church
Yeah.
wants to know, because like that is like what we're here for, is to like hold each other
Mhm.
up, and meet needs like when we can, and pray, and like just be with people. And I think that like now a lot of people feel like they don't want to inconvenience anybody. They don't want to be a bother, or they don't want to like put anybody out by like asking for help. But I know, like, for me, I wish that I could go back in time and tell myself, like, it's really okay to like ask your church, like, can like people like feed me? Can somebody like cook meals for
Yeah.
me? Because I don't want to do anything. I don't want to like leave my room, and I need help. Or like even just being like, this is how I feel. And so that people know and can pray for you. And it's like not an inconvenience, and it doesn't put people out. And I don't know. I just want people to know that like when you're struggling and when you're suffering, like the very best thing that you can do is like let people know, and give people
Mm-hmm.
permission to like also share it, and not keep it like to themselves. Because like if one person knows and can like help you and pray for you, like that really is wonderful. But when your church family can like surround you and like come alongside you and support you, like that's a whole different that's a whole different look, of um
Yeah.
who God is. And one of my friends, this was like this was before college, but we like went to a park, and I was like telling her, something that I was struggling with at the time, and I was just really like sad about it. And um but I felt like a burden with this situation. And I remember like showing me the birds that were like in the park, and she was like talking to me about why birds fly in a V. And that like image and that like moment has stuck with me for so long. And I think that it is so, so appropriate for the church body. But she was saying, like,
Mm-hmm.
Sarah, birds fly in a V because, like, the bird in the front gets hit the hardest. And that bird takes on, like, the elements. They're having to fly the fastest and the hardest to, like, get the flock or whatever, like, to their destination. And they can't do it the whole way, or they'll, like, literally, they'll die because of exhaustion. So,
Yeah.
they do it in shifts, and they rotate, and then that bird goes to the back so that it can rest, and the other bird like takes on for a time the weight or the pressure and the burden of being in the front and all that. And that's how I feel like with the church. Like that is what our role is to like give relief to people who are struggling and suffering, whether that is like, I'm going to set you up a meal train so that at least the
Yeah.
burden of dinner is off of your plate. Or you lost your job and you're struggling. Well, like I can help you get to where you need to go. I can like drive you here or there. Or like you're just really lonely right now. You're in a season of loneliness. Well, my house is absolutely crazy, but you can come and sit here and be here, and you'll want to go home after that and be by yourself because you'll want some peace and quiet. But like that is what we are here for, is to
Yeah.
relieve each other of the burdens and to like give the other person like a chance to rest and to like be refreshed and reminded of like who God is, and see like take a step back so that they can see like he is good. He does provide. Look at the way he's reflected in my church family. And like, but when you're in the front taking like full on the pressure and the like air and all of that, like by yourself, you cannot see like who God is, and you cannot like
Mhm.
you can't breathe, and you're all alone enduring that. And eventually like you will run yourself down, and you'll be susceptible to the enemy and to his attacks. You're going to be weak, and he's going to move in and promise you false relief. But when we like
Mm-hmm.
move out to the side, like those birds, and like give someone else a chance to step in, we can receive encouragement and we can receive like the blessing of relief that allowing someone else to serve us like can give. And then it's like a double blessing because like the person who's doing the serving, like they get to do what the Lord has called them to do. And that is
Yeah.
like it's like both people get to experience this joy that like only comes from being in community. And if one
Mm-hmm.
person like denies the other, like everybody gets stuck. So it's like, I don't know, but um, that is an image that stuck with me for a long time.
Birds are a great example. I love that. Hopefully that's gonna like cement into my mind too.
The
Because
flying
you're
V.
right. You mentioned, yeah, in the yeah. And you, at the very beginning, you mentioned this, and then like you just gave lots of examples, but I'm learning that isolation is like the enemy's playground. And so if he can make me believe that I'm the only one or I shouldn't tell this person, I shouldn't let anyone know, like if he can convince me to stay isolated within myself, he can really have a heyday with my thoughts and my heart. And so if it's a loss, if it's like I've lost my job, like those are whatever it is. I love that you gave so many good examples of just bring it to your church family and let people show up because they want to be the hands and feet of Jesus. Like that's why we're here. Like the church is literally a provision for times like that. Like he created us for community for this purpose. And so I love the example. I think that hopefully it's going to help me remember and like lots of other people too. Is there something from your notes that we didn't talk about yet? We've said a lot of things, but what have we not said that you wanted to say?
Okay, I think that the only other thing, which I don't really know what category this fits in, but maybe would be like something that I've learned now, or from like my walk with the Lord. I don't know. But this is going back to what you were saying about isolation. So this is also another like a book, but this is Elizabeth Elliot, and the book is called The Path of Loneliness, I think is what it's called. And in the book, she talks about like offering up what you have. And in your loneliness, in your isolation or whatever, you're suffering, you may feel like you don't have anything to offer up to the Lord. But she like gave, lots of different examples. And one, she talks about like, is it your time? Like offer that to the Lord, like, and watch how the Lord will use your time like for his glory, and will bring you out of your suffering. Or like whatever it is, whatever the like burden that you're feeling crushed by, if that's all you have, just offer it up to the Lord, and like he'll use it, and he will like be glorified in it. And that like that's been something that's like really stuck with me too lately, especially like being here, and going back to that, like struggling with contentment. And I've been like, okay, what do I have like to offer? Well, I don't have like tons and tons of friends to go and like do all these different things with. So like I can find the people who are also like alone, and I can like get to know them. And that's been like one like beautiful thing that has happened in the last, I don't know, 2 years, I guess, is like I was feeling like I didn't have any friends and I was alone, and I was like, okay, Lord, like who else is alone here? Show me. And the Lord did. And from that, like a really like special friendship developed. And but like the Lord just kept like bringing her to me, like to my mind and to my heart. And like I was just like, well, I'm all in at this point and I have all the time in the world. So and so now like she and I have gotten to be very close, and like we've been able to be honest with each other, and I've been really thankful for that. And so yeah, that's another like book that is just so good. It's really thin. It's small, but it's like packed with truth and encouragement.
I'll link that one. I'll link that one too. I just saw an Elizabeth Elliot quote like last week or the week before that just struck me. So I'm taking all the Elizabeth Elliot notes because I've read a couple of her books and I love her. So I'm like, oh, these are going to be my next reads right here on this in my notes. The Ecclesiastes book and some Elizabeth Elliot. I think that's really, I'm just glad that you shared that example and like how whatever you have to offer it to the Lord and He'll use it. I just think that's really good wisdom to share because it doesn't always look like peachy and sunshine and rainbows, but if you have it, offer it to Him and He'll use it.
Mhm.
I could talk to you for the next 3 hours probably and catch up and like talk about the things that are happening in our life, but I just really appreciate you saying yes to this. I hope it was like 12 times easier than you thought it was going to be. You'll for sure sleep better tonight now knowing that it's over with and you don't have to think about it anymore. But I do like thank you so much for being here. I have enjoyed this so much, and I like have no doubt I pray this at the beginning of every episode, like I have no doubt that the Lord will use it for somebody, even if it's just one person, like being able to encourage them wherever they are. So thank you, friend.
Well, thanks for asking me and like getting me out of my comfort zone a little bit, because it was good. Like it was really good to be reflective and to like trace back and see like look at all of the ways that the Lord has touched my life and like orchestrated these things that are only like could only happen through Him. So it was really encouraging for me to be reflective of those things.
Well, good. I'm glad there's a small tiny bit of benefit for you that was worth it some way.
Also talking
so
to
good.
you.
I mean, that's good too. Yes. Well, all right. You've given me a lot of things to think about and like bring you back to talk about in the future. So you can be off the hook for now, but maybe sometime later you could come back and like we'll dive into one of these other things. Thanks, friend.
No problem. I love you, Kathy.
Oh, I love you.
Thanks for coming to the table. We hope today's conversation encouraged you as you seek Jesus in the big moments and the little ones. Check out the show notes for any scripture, resources, whatever we talked about today. Feel free to share this episode, leave a comment, ask a question, or share your thoughts with us. Come back and join us again next week. We'll be right here. If you haven't already, go follow or subscribe wherever you listen and find us on socials to catch up if you don't have time to listen throughout the week, or just to find out what all the next episodes are about. Also, we know you have things to say, examples to share, wisdom to give, so look for opportunities this week to share with those around you or even with us. All right, we'll see you next time.